Welcome to Innovation Israel, the show that brings you the latest news and cutting-edge achievements directly from Tel Aviv, the heart of the startup nation. On today's show, we'll meet 3 startups: Slide, which has developed an advanced tech ecosystem, all to improve your child's safety. And then, from the ground up to the sky, we'll meet SciTech, which aims to keep our skies safe. And finally, we'll meet PointGrab, which is revolutionizing the way office workspaces are managed. But first, a few headlines out of Israel. The Cenacle, a popular tourism site in Jerusalem for everyone from Christian pilgrims to atheists, is thought to be the location of Jesus Christ's famous Last Supper, as well as the burial site for King David. But due to poor lighting and ancient worn walls, archaeologists have had a tough time deciphering all the Cenacle's secrets. Until now, when technological advances have made it possible.
In a joint project between the Israeli Antiquities Authority and the European research institutions, an incredibly detailed 3D model of the site has been put together, and this using unique laser scanners and advanced photography. But more importantly, through this method, researchers now hold a fully fleshed out model of the hall, which has already proven quite revealing. For example, according to archaeologists with the IAA, like Amit Rehem, obscured artworks and engravings that were hidden for centuries are today clear as day.
We managed to penetrate the ancient stones. We managed to reach every corner of the building. We managed to create 3D model of this wonderful and sanctified place.
And finally, while many still question whether or not the Cenacle was actually the location of the Last Supper, Amit Rehem continues that with the new evidence they've now recovered, at the very least, it's more than likely.
I think we can all agree that the safety of our children is one of the most important things in life. You send your children to school on the bus in the morning and hope that they arrive safe and sound. But how can you be sure? And how can parents be in sync with the school's administration? Well, that's where Slide comes in. They've developed an advanced ecosystem, all to focus on improving children's safety by detecting and notifying schools and parents of any anomaly in a child's daily routine or on school buses. And here to tell us more about it is the founder of Slide, Ron Efroni. Welcome.
Hi, thank you. It's a pleasure to be here.
Great, so let's jump right in. Can you tell us a little bit more about Slide? What exactly do you do?
Of course. Really at the most basic level, Slide is here to provide security, safety, and efficiency to school transportation and to our most important asset, children. Mm-hmm. And what we do and how that comes forward is that we both have a mobile application that's in the hands of parents, of students. They know everything from when the bus is coming, when it's on time or not on time. Everything is automated, nothing is manual, but really deep diving to our core, children's security. And parents can now know their status of the kid. Did he arrive at the station? Did he get to school? But most importantly, was he forgotten on the bus? Did he get off at the wrong station and now we need to do something, really a proactive approach to our children's safety. And on the other side of Slide sits a fully equipped, really an all-in-one solution for school transportation. And what that means is that we today provide the tools to the people who are responsible for your child's safety and way to school, so he can do it in the best way possible and the most secure way, the fastest way, really all they need. So that's really about Slide in a nutshell.
So you look too young to be a parent. I'm curious, where did the idea come from?
So I was actually a lone soldier here in Israel, and as a lone soldier you get a month a year to go visit your family. And while I was here, my family actually, with my 2 younger brothers, they moved out to Chicago. And as a 20-year-old, I thought that I have experienced every season there is to experience, all 4 of them, but apparently Midwestern people in the US experience a 5th, which is real winter. And on vacation there was one incident that really stood out where my mom, 2 younger brothers, one was 6 and one was 12, the 12-year-old had to go alone to a station, blizzard, minus 25 Celsius degree weather, and my mom was late to work because she was with my younger brother at his station, and just a whole mess happened. The bus didn't arrive because of a snowplow. School had no way to communicate, and I'm not talking about, as you said, I'm young, I'm not talking about 2002, we're talking about 2015. And that's where I came in, took my brother to school, and kind of fell, on the idea that what's going on. 2015, pizza companies are telling you when your pizza is ready and when it's on its way to your house, but no one has any clue where our children are. So that kind of got the ball rolling on what Slide is today.
So can you sort of walk me through the application? Let's say I'm a mom and I want to use it to sort of see where my child is, to see where the bus is. How does it work?
Right. So as a mom, what we do is we first integrate with your school. So parents, they would come to the school, say, we want Slide. We very easily know how to spread out into the school. And then you download our mobile application. Through it, everything is automatic. We already know who's your child. We connect it to you. And that has a lot to do with cybersecurity reasons. So there's no need to search for a child or for a bus. We take that on ourselves. That way no one can do it, and track kids. And what happens is you go into the system, automatically you're receiving messages. You'll see the bus live on a map. You'll receive updates about your child on its way to school, at the stop, at the school, and on the way back home. And everything is configurable, so it's very, very, very seamless for a parent.
And so you link the parents essentially to the school administration as well.
Correct.
So say if a kid doesn't show up, the school might not be aware and the parent might think that the child is in school.
Correct. Exactly. So if Slide didn't proactively recognize this issue, what would happen is there's a full communication system inside Slide. So everything is proactive, it's on demand, it's happening live. And that's the exact approach that we need for matters like this.
And are you currently operating in any schools?
Yes, so we're actually spread out across the Midwest, Chicago, Illinois, New York, and now we're also working here in Israel with municipalities, and I think that it's something that is growing and becoming more of a consensus that, hey, we need a solution for this. Like we said, these are our most important assets. This isn't just a pizza or an Amazon, some delivery, but it's something more.
And I'm curious, have you gotten feedback from parents about this app? Because it sounds, as a mom, it sounds incredible.
Yeah. So we've actually received a lot of feedback across the board. Parents, are always asking us, where was this with my older son, or where was this with my other daughter? And they're loving it. Schools, like I said, they receive all the tools they need from us. So it's really an all-in-one system. We bring everyone in together. And it's really promoting us. Like, for instance, what we're doing today in Israel is a lot because of a new partner that we had called High Roads Innovation Center. And they are helping us receive feedback, connect with these municipalities, and really bring Slide also to Israel as well.
Great. Well, thank you so much for taking the time to be here and share Slide with us.
Thank you.
While our first startup is keeping children safe on the ground, our next startup is keeping the skies safe above us. SciTech has developed a visual situation awareness system based on pioneering computer vision and artificial intelligence technologies. What this basically means is that their system enables autonomous flying vehicles, like drones for example, to navigate land and perform complex tasks in real time and with high accuracy, all without relying on outside connectivity. And while today we're talking about drones, anything is possible, and in the future, this tech could even pave the way towards helping autonomous flying cars. And here to tell us more about it is Roy Shmuel, CEO of SciTech. Welcome.
Hi, Lida.
So let's jump right in. Can you tell us about SciTech? I gave a short intro, but what exactly do you do?
First of all, I think you explained that quite well, so thank you for that. Basically, we are a computer vision and AI company for autonomous flights. When we talk about the autonomous flights category, we include drones, different type of UAVs. Drones can be used for commercial purposes, also for delivery. And in the future, we are talking about the category of what people call eVTOL or flying taxi. At SciTech, we handle both the mobility side of the vehicle, meaning the ability to understand where the vehicle is, to navigate it, to land it accurately. And we also handle the mission itself. So the ability to perform the mission in the best way possible. So at SciTech, we are focused on solving these complex issues. And we do it with an amazing team based in Tel Aviv that brings an experience of AI, aviation, autonomous mobility.
And I'm curious, why is there a need for this technology to be able to, for example, navigate without using GPS?
Sure. So we are talking about flying a vehicle above us. So we're talking about a very complicated and risky mission at the end. So people forget that it opens the sky for endless possibilities, but it's also a very serious thing to fly an autonomous vehicle above us. So you need to make sure that it can move from point A to point B safely, reliably, and perform the mission. So, for example, GPS, you touched on GPS. GPS is not always reliable, not always available, and not accurate enough. So we had another sensor, a smart sensor, that enables the vehicle, no matter what, to understand where it is without any connectivity. So think about Cytek like a Mobileye in the sky, if you will.
And I'm curious, where did the idea come from? This is clearly the future, right? We're seeing more drones with companies like Amazon employing them. So let's take a look into the past. Where did the idea come from?
Sure. So actually, Cytek started at Beersheva University, one of the top universities here in Israel. And it is based on a research which is conducted by Professor Joseph Francis, who is the CTO of Cytek. So Yossi basically took 10 years of research in the area of real-time registration and thought about the possibilities to use this innovative mathematics, if you will, to solve real problems in our everyday life. So we thought about how to use the ability to register a pixel in a very accurate way in order to understand how to compare between different images, between an image and a map, and by that to locate a camera or a vehicle in that case, and also to understand within the mission how to do things in a very accurate way when it comes to computer vision.
And where do you operate now? Is this technology already in use?
Sure. So the technology is already deployed. Our biggest client today is Israel Aerospace Industries, IAI, and we work tightly with them on several systems, unmanned systems like UAVs and drones. So the technology is already deployed and working successfully. So the company has managed to prove that the academic theory that Professor Francis developed is actually working in real life, and now we are trying to scale up all this amazing technology to solve problems across the board when it comes to unmanned aerial missions.
Okay, so you mentioned flying autonomous taxis. To me, that sounds like something in the future, right? Are we closer than we think to this technology?
So I think that we need to look at that as a journey towards full autonomy. So like in the area of autonomous cars, people are talking about level 1 to level 5 of full autonomy, and we need to pass gradual steps towards this full autonomy. Likewise, in our industry, people are talking about the ability to use pilots at the first steps that got a basic training versus what we see today, that pilots are a scarce asset, if you will, in the market. So in the future, people expect that a taxi driver, so-called, will be able to fly these sophisticated vehicles, and over time, once the systems will be more sophisticated, they will be able to replace more and more functions that human beings are taking care of. And we at Cytek, again, we want to become the leader of this category of providing smart sensors that will enable this gradual autonomy over time.
Okay. Well, Roy, thank you so much for taking the time to speak with us today.
Thanks a lot.
We all know that the Israeli startup scene is blossoming, and we've all heard of the startups that have been snatched up by major international corporations for hundreds of millions of dollars. And so this begs the question, just how successful is this sector? Well, according to a report that was recently released, Israeli startups have seen over $1.55 billion in investments in the first quarter of 2019 alone, nearly a 30% increase over the last year. The report was published by the IVR Research Center and the Zag S&W law firm, which called this the most successful quarter in the past 6 years. Additionally, the reported sums were spread out across 15% more deals, meaning more companies were reporting successful investments, as opposed to fewer companies with larger average agreements. Now, as you may expect, the fields of software and life sciences performed the best, raking in a combined 59% of the total investments this quarter. But another 26% of investments went towards just 5 companies. The largest investments include the LIDAR startup Innoviz Technologies and the networking company DriveNets Ltd., which secured $132 million and $110 million respectively. Then the other 3 companies, which each raised over $50 million, include Redis Labs, Cato Networks, and Lightbits. And finally, this survey was based on reports from over 400 investors, 60 of whom are in venture capital, while the other 371 are described as other. Additionally, while certainly still impressive, roughly 2/3 of investments during this quarter went towards investors' current portfolios. Once upon a time, employees would show up to work in the same company, in the same position, and at the same desk for the better part of their careers. If there was some movement, it was usually minimal. Fast forward to today, where workplaces are fast-paced, dynamic, and employees are constantly moving around. So, how do you manage this new workplace environment? Well, that's where my next guest comes in. PointGrab, which uses groundbreaking sensing technology to pioneer the next generation of office workspace optimization solutions. And here to tell us more about it is the CEO of PointGrab, Doron Shachar. Welcome.
Hi.
So let's jump right in. Can you tell me, what do you do? What is PointGrab?
Yeah, so interesting enough, you already mentioned the problem that we're coming to solve. The service that we're providing our customers, our end customers, is the ability to actually manage smart buildings, actually tell you how many people, employees for that example, are in a certain space, where they are located, and all of that without violating their privacy. So if you are Deloitte in London and you manage your headquarters of 25,000 square meters, and you have roughly 3,000 employees that you need to place in your offices, you actually want to know, and you want your employees to have the ability to enter the offices and find the best spot for them. And our technology allows them, and that's what they say, to actually place 30% more employees in 3% less space. So it's quite fascinating to see how many different use cases are being made with this technology, with this product itself.
And can you tell me a little bit about where the idea came from?
Yeah, so the company actually was established over a decade ago, starting with a totally different technology that dealt with gesture control for TV sets. Actually, there's quite a good chance that if you have a Samsung TV in your house, part of the technology of gesture control, such as raising the volume or lowering the volume, would be using PointGrab's old technology. But about 3 or 4 years ago, this technology had no longer any need in the market. So the company had to go and do a pivotal change, use some of the core technology, add to it a lot of layers, and understand which need in the market we can answer. And then the ability to understand what smart buildings and smart offices need, and they didn't have, is what led us to this technology.
Now, you've brought with you the device, so can you show it to us and maybe walk me through it? Let's say I'm an employer and I want to use this technology. How does it help me?
Okay, so if you are either renovating your headquarters, building your new offices, or even trying to optimize your real estate usage, and you want to know what your employees are doing in meeting rooms, not in the sense that who is there and what exactly is he seeing on his laptop, but how many people are in the meeting room. And you know that you have many meeting rooms, and yet your employees are coming to you and your managers are telling you, we don't have enough of meeting space. You want the real data. And the real data using these sensors is very easy. You get not only the online data, but also reports per hour, day, week, or month. And then you can see in big organizations, for instance, and that is not surprising, that nearly half of the time, meeting rooms are empty. But you can also see that 25% of the time, there's only one person in a meeting room. And you may wonder, why is that? And you need to understand that when more and more people are seated in open space and hot desking, when they want to make a phone call, they want a private spot. But do you really need a 10-man meeting room for that, or 12 men? No. You can provide them with phone booth that will be small, cozy, intimate, comfortable, private, save the time, save the energy, and allow those who actually need the meeting room access to the meeting rooms. So that's just one need. And there are so many more. I mean, we're speaking about smart buildings, but even today, in some of the smartest buildings in the world, how often would someone, excuse my language, clean the restrooms? Well, the question is, depends how much of budget you have. Maybe it will be once every 2 hours or once every 1.5 hours, but actually, that's not the way it should be. So if you can pass an imaginary line outside of the restrooms and make sure that every count of, say, 30 times or 40 times people have crossed that line, the cleaner of that floor will get an SMS to his mobile saying, go and clean the ladies' room on the 10th floor. That's a smart building for you. So you optimize also the way people are working in your facilities and offices. That would, by the way, go the same for restaurants who want to optimize the labor cost in their facilities. They want to understand how many people are actually in the restaurant to know when do they need more staff and when can they reduce staff. But that would go anywhere. That would go to hospitals, to emergency rooms, that would go to public transportation, that would go to schools and universities. Whenever you are, the ability to know how many people are in the space, where they are, going into heat maps, queue management, and all sorts of use cases, we can see the demand coming from everywhere.
So this raises a question, for me at least, the issue of privacy. How do you handle that?
It's a great question for me because that's one of our differentiators that allows us to win so many of those bids. Because actually, there is a camera in the sensor, but the image itself is deleted on the sensor itself. It's called edge technology. It is not kept anywhere, neither it is communicated anywhere. So in terms of privacy, in terms of regulations, all sorts of certifications that are required, especially in Europe this time, no problem at all. And I think the very fact that organizations in the scope of Facebook or Deloitte or Lloyds have chosen this solution, and those are pretty much the strictest organizations in the world when it comes to security and privacy, I think that speaks for itself.
Well, Doron, thank you so much for taking the time to speak with us today.
Thanks for the opportunity. It was a pleasure.
Well, that's all the time we have for today's show. I'd like to thank the amazing startups who joined us, and remember to like us on Facebook at Israel English News, on Twitter at ILTV News, and visit us on our website at iltv.tv. I'm Ladar Gravey-Elazi. Thanks for watching.